Step into a place that's alive with creativity. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our students have a passion for art, graphic design, music, dance, and theater. We're here to help you discover your artistic potential. From classic techniques to modern innovations, UW-Whitewater is an outstanding place to learn your craft and prepare for your career. So bring your talents and imagination. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
Here at UW-Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on! That's it anyways. Oh, she got that off. They're going to count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yes! Yes!
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
Video One Media Services provides accomplished students the opportunity to enhance their college experience by working with real-world clients. In addition, we provide clients local and affordable video options to better enhance their media needs. For more information on how Video One Media Services can help you with your next media project, email or call our office at 262-472-5659.
Welcome to the University Bookstore. The University Bookstore provides students with the opportunity to purchase apparel, gift items, textbooks, snacks, supplies, and other necessities right here on campus. The bookstore is also home to textbook rental, where you can find many of your required textbooks. Our friendly staff always goes the extra mile to provide customers with a quick and pleasant experience. Visit the bookstore today to find great deals on everything you need to succeed as a Warhawk.
What's up, guys? I'm Coby Brault and this is the $10 Chef. Today we're going to be making a delicious veggie omelet for you guys. Let's go over some ingredients that you'll need. First ingredient, most important ingredient, eggs. You can't make an omelet without eggs. It's just not possible. Next up, we'll need some butter. Show you at the stovetop in a little bit what we'll use that butter for. And then, like I said, it's a veggie omelet. I just picked two of my favorite veggies, an onion and a red pepper. However, you can mix in whatever veggies you want. You can even put some meat in there too if you're feeling it. You know, mushrooms, spinach, tomatoes, whatever you're into. I'm gonna show you guys how to dice up an onion today though, and also dice up the pepper as well. But that's easily transferable over to tomatoes and all the other veggies. And last but not least, I mean, we are in Wisconsin, you're gonna need some cheese. So we'll start prepping all this and show you guys how it all comes together when we come back right after the break.
Warhawks know what it takes to become champions. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our student athletes pursue excellence with a determination that inspires everyone on campus. Warhawks are smart. Warhawks are strong. Warhawks value service. We prepare our student athletes for life after college. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
What does it mean to be a Warhawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a war hack, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind and never quit.
Because
that's the Warhawk way.
Welcome to the University Center Reservations. We are here to provide an abundance of rooms to make your events possible. We schedule events in multiple buildings around campus. Your meeting could be for business or a party. We got you covered. Performances are also an option. Solo, duo, or the whole organization. Don't be shy. Stop by our office or visit our website for more information. We would love to help you out.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website, our 24/7 stream, and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
Welcome back to the $10 Chef. We're whipping up a nice veggie omelet today. First step, I'm gonna show you guys how to dice this onion as well as this red pepper. And then we're gonna whisk the eggs and take it all over to the stovetop. So first thing you gotta do when dicing an onion, it's super simple. You know, it might look intimidating, but it really isn't. You're gonna wanna cut the top off, cut the backside off, and these are just the unappetizing parts of the onion. Nobody really eats these, so you're just gonna wanna get those out of the way. And then you're gonna wanna cut the onion right in half from the top down. So after you cut it in half, you know, there's gonna be maybe a loose piece on the top. So if there is, you can get rid of that. That's kind of the soft part. You don't really wanna dice that up. So anyways, we're just gonna use half an onion. If you use the whole thing, then all you're gonna taste is onion. But just save the other half, you know, put it in a Ziploc bag, whatever the case may be. Now to dice it, you're gonna wanna make small cuts, and you're not gonna wanna go all the way through to the backside. And I'll show you what I mean in a second here. But just small cuts. And you see, I'm not bringing it all the way through. I'm not making small little strips that are separated. They're all still connected on the back here. You see what I'm saying right there. And so that'll help when you spin it, and then you just start and make small cuts, working your way up and across the onion like that. So it's nice and easy. And that's the whole reason that you don't want to cut all the way through, because that keeps the onion much more in line here. It makes your life much easier as you dice this up. So you dice it all the way through. Now this one's having a tough time staying together. So if that's the case, if you run into that issue, I mean, look at how much we have already. That'll be plenty for one omelet, but I'll just show you how you gotta finish off dicing it. So what I do is I just flip it over, and then I just come at it from that side. So just like that. And then usually I just finish dicing the rest of it up like that, but we don't even need that part. So we will just toss all of this into the bowl. And I like to comb through, make sure you don't have any big pieces that didn't get cut all the way through like that. You don't want a mouthful of onion. So that should be all good right there. So we'll toss that in the bowl and then we'll get the red pepper going. So now we're gonna dice up the red pepper. So very similar to how I showed you guys how to slice the tomato last week. Kind of a similar thing that we're doing with the red pepper. Also very similar to how we just diced up that onion, but you're gonna wanna cut the top part off. I call it the lid. And then you won't even need to cut the back side off like we did with the tomato. So what you're gonna do is grab in here and pull this whole part out. It's got all the seeds and everything on it. I mean, you could eat that. It doesn't really taste like anything. Not very necessary for the omelet. So you got the top right here, stem over. And then I just like to go in and clean out the other seeds in here. So get those all cleaned out, because we will not be needing that. Now what I like to do is sorry, let me get that out of the way. I like to slice this right in half from the top down. So now you got your two halves, and we're only gonna use one half, same with the onion. If you use a full pepper for one omelet, you're just gonna be overdoing it. So actually we'll use this half, this is the bigger half. So now you're gonna wanna slice it down into these little strips here. And it's up to you how thick you want them. But you're just cutting those into strips. Nice and easy like so. And then once you get to the butt, we'll deal with that in a second. But now you got all these strips, right? So the last part is just to dice them up. So just nice little cuts. They don't have to all be the exact same size, but just enough so that we get a little bit of red pepper in each bite. And then, yeah, like I said, you can double back, comb through. If you think one's too big, just dice it up a little smaller. And we had a little bit of excess diced onion. We won't use all of that for the omelet, but honestly, we can probably use all of these because this really isn't that much. So then you just get down to the butt, and all I do there is just a couple cuts and then just dice it again, like so. More small cuts here. Again, all very easy, very simple things to do. Even if you've never cooked before, not a big, don't find yourself at the stovetop frequently. After you figure out this veggie omelet recipe, you'll be there every single morning. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day after all. So we'll toss that into the bowl with the onions. All right, so the last thing that we need to do is whisk the eggs. Now I'm gonna make a 3-egg omelet for myself today, but if you're really hungry, you can make 4, even 5 eggs in an omelet. There's really no limit. Depends on how big you want it and how big your pan is, but we're just gonna do 3 today, keep it simple. So first thing, obviously gotta crack the egg into the bowl. There goes the first one. And I use the large brown eggs, but you know, your normal classic small white ones work just the same. All right, and we get the last egg in here. Now, if you have a whisk at home, use it. It's very, very simple if you have a whisk. I do not have a whisk, so we are just gonna use a fork. Fork also works just as easily. So the main thing you're gonna wanna do is break these yolks up, like so. And just keep working to break those yolks up. Now once you do that, I like to stir it for a good, I'd say 20 to 30 seconds. And you can see it yellowing up. That is what you're looking for. Now it doesn't look like there's a lot of eggs in there, but that's because this is a pretty big bowl, normal size bowl. Look a little more full. Either way, we'll have enough to get the omelet done. So that should be good. So now we got the eggs whisked, we got the pepper and onion diced up. So now we got to take it all over to the stove top and finish up making this delicious veggie omelet. So we'll do that right after the break.
At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we're passionate about learning. Our talented faculty members blend teaching with research, creating hands-on learning experiences for students. Warhawk Pride thrives at UW-Whitewater, where student-athletes excel on the field and in the classroom, where diversity is celebrated. A tradition of excellence. Find your passion here.
At the University Bookstore, we have an excellent selection of competitively priced books and classroom necessities for students. We have Warhawk gear ranging from athletic apparel to comfy sweatshirts the whole family can enjoy. The textbook rental service is also available for students to check out their required readings for class. You can also find and order books, apparel, and gift items from our online catalog, located at uwwhitewaterbookstore.com. The University Bookstore, we provide for your college experiences.
Here at UWW, we put a lot of emphasis on shaping your involvement. Involvement helps you get to know more people with similar values and goals as yourself. The Student Involvement Office can help you get involved with organizations on campus, or we can help you start a brand new one. So what are you waiting for? It's time to shape your involvement at UWW. If you'd like to learn more, stop by UC 127 or contact us at involvement@uww.edu or call 262-472-6217.
Turn us on. Flip them off. 91.7 WSUW. 91.7 is a student-run radio station serving the Whitewater area with a variety of original programs, live sports broadcasting, community events, and more. So turn us on. 91.7 FM or stream us live at 917theedge.com.
The Department of Communication offers students the opportunity to explore the world through the faculty-led travel study program. The course consists of both in-class lecture and a 3-week travel component at the end of the semester.
You have a life that is insanely busy. You don't have to give up so much time to do a 3-week travel study, and you can compact a lot in 3 weeks.
The course is worth 3 credits and is open to all majors. The program features group travel with peers and faculty.
I think the benefit of traveling in a group like the travel study is there's always somebody there to experience new things with you, and you always have new friends to gain.
Travel Study offers a variety of travel destinations, including a trip to Ireland every other year. Develop new relationships, participate in enriching cultures, and experience personal growth while abroad.
With the Travel Study, it was so great being able to go to places and really experience the value that they can give to our own culture and just to me as a person.
For more information, please visit
Welcome back to the $10 Chef. We have moved over to the stovetop where we got the whisked eggs that we're going to be throwing down onto this pan to finish up making our delicious veggie omelet. So first thing, about medium heat, I would say. Little less than medium actually. And then we are going to do just a spoonful of butter. Let that work around the pan. So as you can see, it's just about coating the pan with that butter. She's almost all the way melted. But then after that, that's when we get to the fun part. Should be good. So now, whisk up the eggs a little more, get them going, like so. That should be good. And then you just dump the whole thing in, just like that. Should coat the whole bottom of the pan. So you can see that the egg is firming up underneath. So the biggest thing is just bunch that and let the part that's on top that's not cooked flow in and start to cooking. But the biggest thing you want to do is just make sure that all this ends up getting cooked, and that's the best way to do that, because you also want this to maintain its shape. So just keep moving that around, filling those open spaces with the uncooked egg. But you can see it's already getting pretty firm. And once it stops moving around on the top, that means that it's all cooking well enough. So we'll give that another minute or two. And that's a good way to test it, is once you move it in a little bit and nothing's moving on the top. So now, after another minute here, we'll add in the peppers, onions, and cheese. And that'll be a super simple step. So I'm just gonna take a handful out of this bowl, mix it up a little bit, because I don't want to use all of the onions. And if I'm not using all the onions, then I may as well not use all the peppers. You don't want the ratio to be messed up. Unless you're really into peppers, then be my guest. So you just want to put this on one side. And this will be the side that we're going to close up in just a minute. So now that that's all nice and evened out, next up we gotta throw the cheese on there. I'd say about a half a handful, just enough to kind of coat over the top. Just like that. And the best part about this is when you close it up, it's gonna continue to cook itself. That's how the cheese can melt so fast. So now, the big finish, the grand finale, you gotta fold this part, get up underneath there with the spatula, and just fold that right over the top, like so. I like to bring it out towards the middle a little bit. And that cheese is already getting pretty melty. You can hear it sizzling up. So that should be good. We are gonna bring this back over to the table and cut into it, give you guys a close-up on how incredible this is looking. So let's do it.
Army ROTC cadet at Whitewater, you have the opportunity to develop into a great leader while learning and applying the Army values to your everyday life. Within ROTC, you have the chance to travel overseas in the CULP program to train with other militaries, attend many elite Army schools such as Airborne and Combat Diver, and you have the opportunity to attend conferences and guest lectures by some of the Army's top-ranking officers. Our Warhawk cadets participate in many extracurricular activities, Division III sports, Greek life, intramural sports, among many other team-building and community service events. Being a cadet at Whitewater is more than just being part of the Army. It's also about being active members in our community and coming together to form a family atmosphere. Anyone who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves while developing themselves professionally should consider UW-Whitewater ROTC. To sign up for UW-Whitewater ROTC, go to the 4th floor of McCutcheon Hall to room 417.
It has been taking away our potential for decades, but since 2009, campuses nationwide are becoming tobacco-free. Tobacco has been eliminated from bars, restaurants, and many other public places. Why should our schools be any different? For more information, visit the Ambrose Health Center.
So we have brought the completed product back over to the table. We're about to get a perfect money shot for you. So let's do it. So let's dive in. I'm cutting it right down the middle for you. And you can see that cheese spreading apart. But just nice, even. You're gonna get a bite of red pepper, a bite of onion, and a bite of some cheese in every single bite that you take. So that'll be perfect. I can't take it anymore. I gotta dive in. I gotta take a bite here. Let's see how she turned out. Wow, that is delicious. It's nice and cheesy. Like I said, you get a bite of onion, bite of pepper in every bite. Excuse me, gotta swallow there. But, you know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This took what, 10 minutes tops? And you got yourself a delicious filling omelet. You know, you're gonna get sick of cereal, gonna get sick of oatmeal. So you may as well start incorporating it in. And like we said earlier, you can keep mixing it up. Instead of regular cheese, you could try feta cheese and just keep switching up your veggies. Add some meat in there, some bacon, whatever you want. The possibilities are endless. But now, at the very least, you know how to construct a beautiful veggie omelet. So that's all we got today. I gotta finish this right now before it gets cold. So I'm gonna have to catch you guys later. But make sure to tune in and see what we got cooking next on the $10 Chef.